let's all face the facts. The planet is overpopulated, and the only thing that we can do to save Mother Earth is to eliminate a lot of the poor people. I think that's what Bernie Sanders just said. I don't know. You be the judge. I'm going to play the clip. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. I'm going to play a clip from a recent Bernie Sanders town hall meeting that appeared on CNN and hopefully give you the rhetorical ammunition, the reasoning, the philosophical underpinnings to blister this argument and to see through it for what it is: an attack on the poor and the promotion of death. Here we go.
Human population growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me is totally absurd. So I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
And then rises Thanos to the occasion. If you're a Marvel movie fan, you know that Thanos believed that the only way that there could be balance in the universe is if he were to dispassionately wipe out 1/2 of the world's population. There was a priest named Joseph Malthusian. The Malthusian theory is based upon the idea that he came up with that the world could not sustain population growth, that we would run out of food. It is a lie. It was never true. It is still not true now. So right off the bat, what she said, we know that that the world can't sustain population growth. It's not true. Inherent in the question is always some type of underlying philosophy. So if you debate someone and they come to you and they say, we know that the world can't sustain unfettered population growth, so what are we going to do about it? If you take the bait and say, oh, well, let's think no, you have to immediately say, whoa. I reject the premise of your question. I reject, without hesitation, the notion that we cannot sustain human life on this planet. Do you understand how many tens of billions of acres are just lying there? No one's doing anything with them? You understand how much food can be grown in the ocean? The concept that this earth cannot sustain the people that God put on it is on its face ludicrous, and there is no science that backs it up. There was never any science. What Malthus was saying, or again, Malthusian theory, what Malthus was saying was a lie from square one. It was never true. And yet, if you accept the premise of a question and you debate on the basis of a false or untrue premise, then you've already lost. You've already ceded the ground. He who frames the question wins the debate, is the saying. You've heard the saying. He who frames the question wins the debate. So she says, we know that the planet can't sustain unfettered population growth. And where does Bernie go with it? Straight to death. Straight to death. And she says, we know that this is unpopular. Are you courageous enough to talk about the need to curb population growth? And how does he land with it? First, he supports the murder of babies. All right? That's a good way to keep the population down. Kill our infants, kill our young. We'll see, you can see what China does with their one-child policy where they have forced abortion. People have to apply to have a baby. And if they get pregnant without the proper paperwork, they might flee. They might just surrender themselves and have their baby killed. The Golden Venture was the name of the ship that landed in New Jersey where people were fleeing forced abortion and forced sterilization. But you can look at what her principles look like by going to China. But let's go a step further. When I come back from this break, I want you to think about Bernie's answer and where he landed to prove his point. Yeah, poor people. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Third world countries. That's where Bernie Sanders said we need to go. Go to third world countries. When you think of a third world country, what do you think of? What kind of people do you think of? Where do you think these third world countries are? The first place that comes to most people's minds is Africa. The second place would either be South America or the Pacific Rim. And these are what you might call predominantly nations that are non-Caucasian people. It always interests me that the lunatics on the left call us racists. We're racists because we want to keep babies alive, because we're Republicans, whatever reason they concoct, whatever their latest lunatic argument is, we're the racists. But when Bernie Sanders steps up to the microphone and says we need to get birth control and abortion into third world nations so that people don't have big families, he's referring to the ideology of Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood. He's referring to eugenics, where they wanted to rid the world of what Margaret Sanger called human weeds. Human weeds, the Negro population. Margaret Sanger wrote extensively about reducing the Negro population. She wanted to curb the growth of the African American community, of black people, of Negroes, whatever you want. She had the Negro Project. So this is, or whatever she called it at the time, there was some name that she had for it. I believe it was the Negro Project. This is what we're dealing with. Whatever you want to call it, at its heart, at its soul, it is racist. And now, in their words, again, if you're a regular viewer of this show, racism is a myth. There's only one race, it's the human race. And if you say that there's more than one race, you are adopting a Darwinian theory about human development. I reject it. We all come from two parents, Adam and Eve. That's it. The whole human race comes from one mom and one dad. And that's it, people. So God made us. We are all one blood. That's what the scripture says. The end. Now, what he's saying is, hey, yeah, overpopulation really is a problem. No, it's not. It's just really not. We're now at the place where with modern farming, forget GMOs and forget things that are poisonous to us, with just good farming techniques, one person can grow enough food for 40, and that number is going up. It used to be, it was one person, two people. In the oldest histories of the human race, most people were farmers because you just had to farm to keep alive. We're not at that point anymore due to the advances of Christian civilization. Now, because of farming and machinery and implements and what we've learned about planting techniques and about irrigation, we can grow food at such a spectacular rate that there are literally grain silos filled in various places in America and around the world with more grain and more soy and more corn than we know what to do with. And you want to see what a poor country looks like? Go to North Korea. Go to a communist country where they don't have freedom. Go to China and look at communist countries where you do not have freedom. All right, a managed economy often will result in poverty or in famine or hunger. Same with third world countries that do not have liberty, where you have corruption, where you don't have a Christian underpinning. That is where you're going to find hunger. It's not because of the population. It's because of the system of government and the philosophical or theological underpinning of that government. Where there is human liberty, there's food. Where there is not human liberty, there is oftentimes want. Liberty and prosperity go hand in hand. Historically, biblically, ethically, and want and slavery go hand in hand. Look, where do you see prosperous slaves? I mean, just think about it. Where do you see prosperous slaves? And so the nations of the earth that have the most government control, whether you want to call them communists or whether they're dictators or whether it's some demonic religion that undergirds a culture with voodoo or with witchcraft or animism or any other poisonous lies that have been a blight on the human race for centuries, whether it's system of government and its underlying principle or just some true outgrowth of the demonic, that's where you see want. That's where you see famine. So the notion that we cannot sustain the population of the earth is ludicrous. You could take the entire world's population, every man, woman, and child, and you could fit them in the state of Texas. And everybody would have 1,200 square feet. So think of a small house, a 1,200 square foot house, which is a mansion in most of the world. Think of this 1,200 square feet, and then that's your 1,200 square feet to run around in. And you can look at your neighbor's 1,200 and your neighbor. You could fit all the world in the state of Texas. And then have the rest of the earth for food, for amusement parks, whatever it is you want. The idea that the earth cannot sustain us is on its face a lie. So when I looked at the woman, man, didn't she just look like a leftover Woodstock hippie? She really did. I mean, how many kids does she have? How many kids did she abort? Did she abort any kids? Did she want children and couldn't have them? She had the vibe of being a whacked out person. And when you stand up and ask a whacked out question, if she'd have never asked the question, I'd have looked at her and said, man, this woman's got some Woodstock thing going on. And there it is. We know that the world cannot sustain the population. Bernie, what are you going to do about it? You have the courage to tell us all. Get your tubes tied here. We're going to disincentivize you. We'll give you $1,000 if you'll come forward and tie your tubes. Ladies, men, get a vasectomy. Why have children when we know that there's not enough food for us all to eat? I'll be right back.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Welcome back to the program, friend. We are committed. I am committed. The people I work with are committed to seeing righteousness prevail in the earth. And one of the big areas where the battle is in politics. I was having a fierce debate last night with somebody about, that the NRA and right-wingers who love the Second Amendment are in trouble because they won't have a reasonable gun control. And they look unreasonable with more extensive background checks. I said, okay, show me the checks. Show me the list. Show me what a reasonable background check looks like, and then I'll tell you. And of course, he couldn't say yes, or he understood at that point that was, in fact, where the devil would be in the details. What is a reason? Because 97% of American people support more thorough background checks. Yeah, I guarantee you that those 97% have not read the details of what these background checks would entail. I want to see them. How long do you have to wait? Does your family physician have to say something? Are they going to ask you if you smoke, drink, chew? If you're on an antidepressant? If you're on a stimulant? Do you drink coffee? I mean, how do you see a counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist? Were you abused as a child? Are you abusing children now? We're going to have your principal talk to your kids. What do these background checks look like? I want to see the list. Because I think that if people saw the list, that it wouldn't be 97% of the people. You don't have to go and get a background check to use your First Amendment free rights, to speak out against Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. Think about it. All right. I want to play a song for you. We're a musical family, and this is a rough draft, but I thought it's far enough to have fun. This is called Trump's Gonna Thump Em. The music that you're seeing is actually, in fact, played by my sons and I. We call ourselves the Terry Train. I hope that you enjoy this tune.
Boys, go make America great again.
Yeah, thank you. Got his foot right there in his mouth. He ain't got a prayer of winning the South. Kamala Harris starting to get some play. She's always flapping her jaw, but she ain't got nothing to say. Oh, we're gonna show each of these bums to the door. Trump's gonna thump them like they've never been thumped before. Sanders a socialist, Cory Booker's 1-2, Hickenlooper's a loser, de Blasio's a fool, Beto O'Rourke eats baby poo, Mayor Pete is a loon, Elizabeth Warren is an Indian, I'm the man on the moon. Oh, we're gonna show each of these bones to the door.
All righty, I will be right back. Please don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, "What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. In this remainder of the program, I want to exhort you to remember something. In the world you will have tribulation. You will. Our Lord Jesus promised it. I know that there's a lot of people who like the promise books and the promise cards and the promise loaf and you pull a promise out. Well, there's a promise for you. In the world you will have tribulation. Here's another promise. Jesus said, "I did not come to bring peace, I came to bring division." And when the Lord, let me back up. There's no way we can truly serve God in this life without heartache. It's not possible. There's going to be heartache. Jesus said, "I didn't come to bring peace, I came to bring a division. A man's enemies will be of those of his own household. A mother will be divided against her daughter, or a mother will be divided against her daughter-in-law." Well, just stop right there. The closest relationships are between parents and their children. So here you've got the Lord talking about a division between a parent and a child, or between a parent and the child's spouse. So if a mother has a division with her daughter-in-law, what do you think that means for how many visits a year there are? How much tension is in the air? How much sadness is in the air? There's simply no way that we are going to serve God and to speak the truth, no matter how loving. If you're going to speak the truth clearly and stand for the truth without equivocating, then there's going to be heartache. There's just no way around it. And what this speaks to is our need to have priorities. So if my priority is to be at peace with my renegade child, no matter what, then, and that child wants to know that I will say to him, "It's okay for you to be homosexual, I just want you to be happy," then I have surrendered ethics, and I've surrendered what's in the best interests of my child. Now, if I say to my child, "I love you, I'm afraid for your soul, I'm afraid for you getting sick, I'm afraid for your physical safety because of the danger that this lifestyle carries with it," and it's just wrong. God does not want you to live like this. Now, if I say those words, I'm going to alienate maybe the child. I risk alienating. I risk what Jesus said, division. And with it is heartache. It's just that simple. I don't want it. I don't want heartache in this world. I want joy. I want to rejoice always. I want unfettered happiness. But that's not the way this world is, people. There's too much sin and evil in the world, and Christ promises that in the world we're going to have tribulation. So the challenge before us is to own it, to embrace it. I've got to go. Please go to our website, randallterry.com, and see what we've got coming up. And if you can help us financially, I need the help. I really do. God bless you.